Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on your kids' spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely, and parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/Wondery.
AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from downtown Baton Rouge.
Let's ride!
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Sam Acho, ESPN, he'll be here in 13 minutes from right now. Russ Mitchell next hour. Ton to do. Glad you're hanging out. Saints heading up to the Pacific Northwest. They'll take on the Seahawks Sunday. Great chance to check up with Michael Bumpus from Seattle Sports, Bump and Stacy show. He's also the host on Seahawks Radio. It's been a minute since we've had a chance to talk to him. Saints and Seahawks don't play very often, but good opportunity to have Michael back on the show. Yo, man, thanks for the time. How are you?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing down there?
Doing well. Man, you're about to come on and we're in the break, and Musso reminded me, I don't remember this, but he said that one of the times we had you on prior, you were telling us about being recruited to LSU by Nick Saban. Do you have a Nick Saban LSU recruit story that has just completely gone into a black hole in my brain?
Oh, man, yeah. So, obviously I'm from Southern California. My dad lives in Mississippi, so when I was going through the recruiting process, I'm looking at LSU, and I go over there. I went to a practice. I remember seeing a skinny Jamarcus Russell at the time. They're gassing him up to me, telling me he's going to be the greatest quarterback to come out of LSU, and we all know how that happened. But the deterrent factor for me for not picking LSU was just I thought Nick Saban was a madman. I'm from California. I'm laid back. And I go, you know what? This ain't my cup of tea. But it all worked out for everybody.
It did. You actually would have ended up playing for Les Miles for the majority of your career had you ended up in Baton Rouge. But a good career at Wazoo, and, man, we appreciate a couple of minutes. Hey, look, it's been an interesting tale of 2 weeks for the Seahawks. I mean, losing at home to the Niners and then blowing the doors off of Pittsburgh on the road makes sense of what's happened these 2 weeks in Seattle.
Yeah, well, with the 49ers, you just didn't take advantage of opportunities. You had 2 interceptions, one by Josh Jobe, a corner who's fighting to stay on this roster, one by Ernest Jones, the linebacker that we know here. You block a field goal, the Niners miss a field goal, and you just don't capitalize. And then I think the glaring thing was just the run game. Everyone was under the impression that with Kubiak, you'd be able to run the football, there'd be play action, and you just didn't see much of that during the Niners game. Actually, only 2 play-action attempts during the Niners game, and people are scratching their heads talking about what's going on here. So then it was about adjustments. That second week, you established the run. I liked how they got away from the outside zone. You still have to run it because that's the base of their offense, but they started to attack the middle of the defense. And I think that getting that double team on that one tech early and allowing K9 and Charbonnet to work opened everything up because now you got the play-action pass. Cooper Kupp is involved. It's like you went from something like a group project week 2, and that week 1 was like the smartest person on the team or in the group project just tried to take over and do it themselves. You know how this game is, man. You need everyone to get involved. So I think it was adjustments being made.
I love the analogy, man. I'm glad you brought up Clint Kubiak. He was obviously in New Orleans a week or a year ago, or wanted to talk about that. Outside zone is something we spent so much time talking about. So how has that transition with Clint Kubiak gone in this offseason? Is the personnel there to run the type of offense he wants?
I think it's there, but I think it's going to take some time. I also think that the thing that hurt the Seahawks week one with that outside zone, you would think it'd be that overhang, that edge, or someone blowing stuff up. It was actually the one tech getting this penetration in the backfield. So with the 49ers, they were slanting at the right time and getting back there. Salah did a great job there and just messing up the timing. So now the running back has the football. He's got to bounce it a little wider than he wants to, and he couldn't really get downhill. To where last week you played against a one tech that was kind of like, I'm just going to read. I'm trying to fill the gap, and I'm trying to read. So the big adjustment is going to be is can you get bodies on those interior linemen now? You know, because when you start getting outside, everyone starts to flow outside. You can have a tight end who's kicking out that wide nine or that end, and the running back will make you right. If you can't take care of the guys in the middle, you stand no chance. So I think a lot of people here are looking at our center, Sundell, Gray Zabel, the number 18 pick, and then Anthony Bradford. If they could be great with the combos, I think it has a chance. So I think the personnel is there. Now it just comes down to teaching it and repping it and just keep doing it over and over again.
Anthony Bradford, of course, someone that people in these parts know well from his time as a Tiger. What's been the early returns on Sam Darnold?
Yeah, it's been mixed reviews. You know, that first game, you don't throw any touchdowns, any interceptions. If you are a football nerd, you're looking at PFF and looking at the grades, and they graded him out as one of the better quarterbacks that week. I thought he made good decisions. Me, fellas, I look at tape, and I make my decisions there. I would agree. He didn't make any bad decisions, and there wasn't a lot for them out there. The receivers didn't do a great job winning against man. So now you get into week two, and we know why was Sam Darnold so successful with the Vikings. One, you got one of the best receivers in the game, and Justin Jefferson, got Addison and Hawkinson there as well. But it was because of the influence of the play action. You have to get under center. You have to expose the football, show those linebackers that you may be handing the football off, and get them to make false steps. So that very first drive last week when they go down the field and Horton, our rookie receiver, scores his first touchdown, we saw play action. It's really that simple. You look at the best offenses in this game right now. It's the deception. It's the influence of the play action. That's where Sam Darnold operates the best. And he can make some throws, fellas. If he has a clean pocket, and even if he doesn't have a clean pocket, if he knows where he's going with the football, he can make some throws. So it was just the connectivity of the run, the play action, and the pass.
Michael Bumpus is with us from Seattle Sports, also to Seahawks Radio. He's the host there for their pre and post. Is there a weakness on that offense, something that maybe could cost them against New Orleans?
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out the consistency of this offensive line. I mentioned Anthony Bradford. Love the dude. I hate calling out guys. Me being a former player, it's tough, but you got to do it. Yeah. He's just not finishing blocks at this moment. And then there were a couple of times where the guy we just signed, Abe Lucas, got dominated week one against Nick Bosa. I'm trying to tell people that's what Nick Bosa does. He's one of the best in the game. You're not going to be perfect against him. So I think the weakness right now is just seeing if this offensive line can put some plays together. And honestly, if Kubiak can call plays that marry everything. You know, we've only seen it for 2 weeks. So from week 1 to 2, there was a great adjustment. I love the way he called the game. So now week 2 to 3, when you're playing against a team in the Saints who understands your offense and has 2 weeks of film. So the weakness will just be the unknown. Consistency with the offensive line, and then if Kubiak can continue to grow and connect the plays.
Flip it to the other side of the ball. I mean, there's obviously some names that we know. I mean, Nick Emenwari, who played at South Carolina. A lot of people here got a look at him, up close. There's Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy. So, I mean, there's a lot of names that we know. DeMarcus Lawrence. What is notable, like the notable strength of this Seattle defense as it's starting to establish here through 2 weeks?
Man, it is whatever makes any defense you can think of in the history of football great. It's the guys in the box, man. I mean, Byron Murphy had his best game as a pro last week, 1.5 sacks. He had half a sack his rookie season. You have Jay Reed, who found the youth. You have Leonard Williams, who I pointed this out. He threw a man who was 6'6", 315 pounds to the ground like he was a DB. Just the violence that these guys are playing with right now, it's crazy. Like, we expected them to be good, but not this good and this violent this quickly. So when you're able to handle the big-on-big matchup and your linebackers are flying around, that means the guys on the back end are able to focus on what they do best, which is play the football in the air. So, no, I think it starts with the bigs, man. It's ridiculous that Leonard Williams isn't regarded by a lot of people as one of the best interior defensive linemen in the game. Because if you turn on that film, he might not be making all the tackles. He might not be sacking the quarterback at a high clip right now, at least, but he is jacking the game up.
I mean, we all remember him from SC. I mean, he's a dude that came in with a ton of hype. And, the Saints right now with a shaky offensive line, that's, I think, where everyone here might be a little iffy going into this ballgame. Is there anything defensively that New Orleans might try to exploit?
I think you got to find ways to get your guy Granderson in advantageous matchups. I think he looks good when he's in that wide 9, wide 7, when he starts his little wind-up, kind of like I call it like a receiver release, right? I got some space to kind of close the gap on these tackles. Because, we have some good tackles in Charles Cross and Abe Lucas, but if you can get those guys on their heels and disrupt things, that's where you really mess up the timing of things, especially if we're doing that play-action boot. And just being disciplined on that edge. If you are on the back end of a boot, instead of crashing down and getting parallel to the line of scrimmage, you got to be patient. And if you can do that, I think that's how you get to Sam Darnold. We saw last week on a 4th and 1, 4th and 2, the Steelers were disciplined. You do a play action fake, Sam's rolling to the left, he panics a little bit, tosses one up, Hayward tips the football, and Herbig gets the interception. I think that's how you disrupt what the Seahawks want to do, is that when the play action is there, you just get your hands up, you get in his face, and make him be decisive. I think because the Saints are top 3 in the league when it comes to sacks, I believe Granderson is tied with 3.5 with Myles Garrett and all the greats over there. You just have to lean on that. I'm not really too worried about the interior defensive linemen. No disrespect to those dudes. I think that's a favorable matchup, even though I did talk about Anthony Bradford and his struggles. I'm more worried about the edges. If the edges can disrupt things, that's how you get to this offense.
Seahawks are a 7.5-point favorite at home. Tough place to play. New Orleans, not super great right now. The vibes aren't super great down here right now, Michael. But if there is a blueprint for Seattle to move to 2-1, what does it look like Sunday?
It looks like making Spencer Rattler look like that guy we saw on the Netflix special QB1. Get him frustrated, get him second-guessing himself. So far, he's done a decent job. No interceptions, 3 touchdowns. But you gotta rattle the Rattler, man. You gotta make him turn that football over, and I think you have a good chance of doing that. But I also tell people he's sneaky athletic, man. I put him right above like Brock Purdy when it comes to his pocket movement. Brock Purdy, man, is so unassuming, but that first step is vision. I think Spencer has a little bit of that in him. So I think you have to lean on the defense. The defense in the run game. It's so boring when I talk about what the Seahawks need to do to win ball games, because it's been the same ever since football has been invented. Play good defense, run the dang football, and everything else is going to open up. But I like that profile for this team.
He is Michael Bumpus, Seattle Sports, Bump and Stacy, also on Seahawks Radio, giving us a little insight, man. Thanks for the Nick Saban story as well, man. It would have been great to have you in the purple and gold. Hey, we could, good.
I would have walked away with a ring or two, that's for sure.
Hey, man, we appreciate the time. Thank you.
All right, guys, take care.
See you. That's Michael Bumpus. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by, speaking of rings, we're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. You can get you a ring. Maybe not a championship ring, but they can get you an engagement ring. How about that? Sometimes things just work out well like that. How about that segue? Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, LMFJ.com. Gents, thrill her with a gift in the red box from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. With 10 locations, 2 in Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, Shreveport. Because they're buying for 10 different stores, they have the buying power to get a great selection and a great price. It's not like the boutique jewelers where the selection isn't great and it's overpriced, or the big box stores that are really just a cookie cutter, a big box store impersonal experience. Go to Lee Michaels. You'll be thrilled you did. They've completely perfected customer service. They've got the great selection. They want her to be thrilled, and they'll never pressure you into feeling like you have to buy something. Go try on 1,000 rings. Make 10 trips into the store, whatever you got to do. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. It's a reason they've been around for 40 years. LMFJ.com. LMFJ. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. LMFJ.com. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. Russ Mitchell next hour. I am going to circle back to the Saints because something we didn't get to on Monday was the Saints trade over the weekend for Ja'Lynn Polk. So I do want to get some thoughts on that. We'll knock out a break, come back. Sam Acho of ESPN is going to be with us on behalf of All State's Good Works team. But I do want to get some thoughts on the SEC so far from Sam. Quarterback play so far, his thoughts on this LSU defense. We'll dive into that with Sam Acho when we continue here on AFR.
AFR.
If you want to buy a home, you probably need to sell yours first. Well, if you need to sell your home, you need to know what it's worth. So how do you figure out what your home is worth? Well, I got a great idea. You do it in about 30 seconds, and it's totally free. No catch. Like, seriously, it's totally free. And you do this in just as quickly as you can punch into a search engine, agent225.com. Do it right now. Let's do it together. Grab your phone. If you're driving, don't do this. But grab your phone, or if you're at a desktop, just punch in agent225.com, agent225.com. You'll see home value right there on the bottom of the homepage. Or if you're on mobile, just scroll a little bit and you'll see where it says home value, gold letters, home value. Just type in your street address. 30 seconds or less, just as quickly as you can type in your address. Boom. It'll populate and tell you exactly how much your home is worth. And Darren uses local market data to give you a more accurate reflection of your home value. And it's totally free. It's at agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
We roll along. Very pleased to welcome Sam Acho to the show. Of course, former Texas linebacker, NFL, now, of course, on ESPN. You hear him and see him everywhere, and he's with us today on behalf of Allstate and the Allstate Good Works team. Sam, we appreciate it, man. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. I want to talk a good bit about what you're doing and the great stuff with Allstate. I got to get a few football questions in first. People here in Baton Rouge, naturally, are pretty pumped about this Blake Baker defense, something you know a lot about. If I asked you, give me a word that describes your biggest takeaway from LSU defensively through the first 3 weeks, what would you say?
Strategic. I would say strategic. And I go back to that week 1 game versus Clemson and Harold Perkins essentially winning the game at the end with that. I don't know if it was a sack or pressure on Cade Klubnik. I would say they're more strategic. Blake Baker, I know from my time in Texas, we have a relationship, and I got a chance to call LSU's game versus Baylor last year, and obviously watching him in that defense. They've gotten a lot better from a talent perspective. They understand the defense better, but football is more than just about talent and more about, X's and O's. It's also about Jimmys and Joes, right? And so you're getting the right Jimmys and Joes in the right positions to make the right plays. So I was impressed by the strategy now that Blake Baker's able to implement, now that people have a better understanding of the defense and he has the people in place to be effective.
What position would you like to play in that defense?
I'd love to be on the edge. I've always been in a defensive end, outside linebacker. I was a defensive tackle when I was younger, right? Like 6th, 7th grade, something like that.
Right.
I'd love to be on the edge of that defense just because, I love rushing the quarterback and love sacking quarterbacks and also love dropping in coverage. But I feel good on the edge. So no matter what defense it is, I want to be on the edge.
Is there a style of offense that you think could give that defense trouble?
I wouldn't say a style, but last year we did see early in the season, there was oftentimes shifts in motion gave the defense trouble when it came to stopping the run. That was definitely glaring and noticeable and obvious. Now it got significantly better, and LSU ended the season right around the middle when it came to stopping the run versus shifts and motions. But some of these teams that do a ton of shifting and a ton of motioning before the snap, if you don't understand the defense at a really basic level, it can be easy to have a misalignment or miscommunication. So I would still say offense that do a lot of shifting and motioning can be difficult because it causes defenses to communicate, and it could easily cause a breakdown.
Sam Acho is with us on behalf of the Allstate Good Works team, a 2010 member of the Allstate Good Works team. We'll tell you a little bit more about how you can get involved in vote in just a second. I bumped into you at SEC Media Days. I know you do a million interviews, but I'm always interested in this, Sam. I go to Media Days every year with sort of maybe a preconceived idea, and then I try to get a deeper understanding of every other team in the league, and I'll come away with things that I think I know. Is there anything you thought then or going into this season that through 3 weeks ago, maybe I missed there? Player, coach, team, anything?
Yeah, I'd say Mississippi State and Jeff Lebby. I remember listening to his press conference at SEC Media Day and seeing how much Mississippi State struggled last year, knowing how much they struggled, 2-10 overall, didn't get an SEC win. I listened to his interview with a bit of pessimism. And then all of a sudden, I got a chance actually to call their first game. It was Mississippi State playing Southern Miss at Southern Miss. And it wasn't the cleanest game, but there was a sense of, okay, we can be good. Like before last year, defensively, there wasn't that. It was very much like, man, stuff kept on going wrong. Soft against the run. Offensively, obviously, Blake Shapen was injured. But this year, it was a sense of confidence of, no, we know that we are better than what we put on tape last year. There's history of Jeff Lebby's offenses year 2 having a huge jump, whether at UCF or Oklahoma. But it wasn't just that impressed me. It was the defense. I didn't know they were going to be this much better.
Sam, another thing that we've talked so much about in the league coming in, it seemed like a narrative was this was going to be maybe the best quarterback league since 2013, best quarterback year in the SEC since 2013, when you had Manziel and McCarron and Aaron Murray and Connor Shaw and James Franklin at Missouri and Mettenberger. Great year. But Sellers, Arch, Lagway, even Garrett Nussmeier, it's been a little bit of a slow start. If I asked you today, who's the best quarterback in the SEC, who would you take?
Oh, John Mateer.
You think of 3-game samples? Or let me ask it a different way. What about Mateer has been maybe most impressive coming from Washington State to OU?
He's carried over everything he did at Washington State, and he carried it over here to the SEC. And I understand SEC play is getting ready to start, but he played Michigan, and he made them look, pedestrian at times with what he did as an individual. So I've been extremely impressed by his athleticism, extremely impressed by his arm. He does put the ball in harm's way at times, but he's got a sense of confidence to him where, and it shows up on his tape in high school, some of the stuff he was doing, making people look silly. So John Mateer has been most impressive, and currently I say he's the best quarterback in the SEC. If
you got to redo, and today you got to pick which 2 teams you think play in Atlanta for the SEC championship, who'd you pick?
Oh, it's early, right? It's early to say Oklahoma.
It's early.
They haven't played their SEC yet. And Texas isn't looking great right now. Georgia.
It cut you a little bit to say Texas isn't looking great right now, didn't it?
No, I didn't. It's honest. Yeah, it's honest. Yeah. Georgia and TBD. TBD. I need to see some everybody else.
Sam, I got one more for you, but first, let's talk a little bit about the All-State Good Works team. What did it mean to you? It's been 15 years, but I don't mean it to age you with that, but it's been 15 years since you were on the All-State Good Works team. What did that mean to you back then?
It meant everything. I played a national championship at Texas, and I wanted to go to the NFL, and all those things are my goals and dreams, but there was still so much work I was doing in the community and my teammates as well. So to get recognized as a member of the 2010 All-State AFCA Good Works team and to be able to win the All-State Warfel Trophy back in 2010, it was everything. I remember getting the call from Danny Warfel, and I think I might have been in New York actually for a different award ceremony, and being like, dude, Danny Warfel's calling me, number one, and number two, like, you think I'm worthy of this award? And so, yeah, it was 15 years ago, but that's why I still stay involved, because right now there's 22 student athletes a part of the 2025 All-State AFCA Good Works team and a coach, SEC players, some of them. To your point, Michael Taft, who plays at Texas, who's a walk-on All-American now. He does work in the community. Every tackle he makes, he's donating money to fentanyl awareness. Brent Venables is the honorary coach, another SEC individual who's doing work. So for me, I get so impressed, and I would even tell people who want to learn more and also who want to get involved, go to ESPN.com/Allstate to learn more about the work the players are doing, and also to vote on who you think should be the All-State AFCA Good Works team captain, because that captain wins the All-State Warfel Trophy. So if you want to make a guy like me happy, go ahead and go to ESPN.com/Allstate, and you can vote for the next Warfel Trophy winner for Allstate.
Another guy that LSU fans remember, Adam Randall, who they played against week 1 Clemson's also on the All-State Good Works team. So you can check that out again, ESPN.com/Allstate, ESPN.com/Allstate if you want to vote. Okay, before you go, you got to play in Arizona with 2 of the all-time LSU greats, Patrick Peterson and Tyrann Mathieu. I would love a story or an impression of what it was like playing with those 2 guys.
Yeah, I'll start with Ty. He's just a consummate pro. I watched him when I was in the NFL. He was in college, and I'm like, the Honey Badger fears no man. I'm like, dude, this guy's a freaking baller. But then you meet him, he's got such a sense of level-headedness to him. Like, I remember we'd be in the locker room, be in the training facility, having all these big old arguments. Man, who's the best? Is it Kobe? Is it LeBron? Da, da, da. You know, we all go ask Ty, and Ty would just have this level-headed response, like it's not about who's the best, or he was like, dude, let's just go to work, kind of a thing. It was impressive, just his demeanor. And then with Pat P, I was just impressed by his one-handed interceptions, right? Like, he had one-handed picks in practice. I was like, dude, are you a receiver, and how are you doing that? And also his work in the community, to be totally honest. Pat P, after every practice, he would go and sign every single person's autograph during training camp. So you think about, like, you hear about all these players and their accolades on the field, but that's why I love the All-State AFC Good Works team, because we get a chance to highlight players off the field as well. You get a chance to hear those stories of guys like Pat P or Tyrann Mathieu, we're talking about, but also some of the players on this team as well, Nolan Ulm and Chandler Rivers, Michael Taft, Brent Venables. You can hear their stories that people don't get a chance to hear often.
And you can go find out more at ESPN.com/Allstate. That's ESPN.com/Allstate. He is Sam Acho with us on behalf of the Allstate Good Works team. Sam, we appreciate it, man. Continued success. Thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Appreciate Sam Acho making time for us earlier today. We're brought to you by First South Farm Credit, FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com. If you're thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. Love telling you about First South Farm Credit because they're local. They've been local for more than 100 years, since 1916, through 2 world wars, through the Great Depression, economic upticks and downturns. They've been steady, natural disasters, and they've been there for our communities. And I love the way that they serve their customers, their clients. I remember having this conversation with Ben 3 years ago. He's like, we first started doing business together, and he said, you know, if we ever get to a point where, you know, we think there's an opportunity to refi, to adjust and get you a better rate and better pricing, we'll call you and tell you that. And they told one customer that, and he kind of called BS. And about a year later, sure enough, they were able to call him and say, hey, look, we can readjust here and save you this. And the guy was like, you maybe use some choice words, but you actually did it. They're great to work with, and you'll understand it. They live where you live, work where you live. It's First South Farm Credit. They've been helping Louisianians buy land for 100 years. It's FirstSouthLand.com. Make your first call to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com. It's FirstSouthLand.com. Okay, y'all. It is after further review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. Steve Wiltfong was here last hour. If you missed him, talked a little bit about Steve Wiltfong, National Recruiting and Transfer Portal Director for On3 and Rivals. We talked about LSU landing Peyton Houston. What does that mean about Elijah Haven? What does it mean for Colton Nussmeier? Can they flip Landon Duckworth for the class of 26? All that future quarterback talk. That's on demand. If you missed it, of course, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Michael Bumpus just a minute ago, talking Seattle Seahawks. You just heard Sam Acho, and Russ Mitchell's coming up here in 45 minutes, so a ton to do. Let me not get a break. When we come back, the Saints over the weekend traded for Ja'Lynn Polk. And we didn't have a chance just with a busy Monday to get into this, but I do want to give you some thoughts on the Saints making that deal for the former second-round pick out of Washington. So we'll get to that when we come back, and Tigers and the Pros in about 15 minutes. Stick around. It's AFR.
After further review.
Hump Day shows are brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. I'll be there tomorrow, as a matter of fact. I got a text today alerting me my shipment came in. So my next cycle of BPC 157 is in. And I'm telling you, this has been transformative for me, man. I have dealt with chronic back pain for almost my whole life, for almost as long as I can remember. Like, quite literally, I remember in 1996 watching the Warren Morris home run, laying with a heating pad on my back. So, I mean, like, for a long time. And I finished my second cycle of BPC 157, and it's pretty amazing. I mean, I've gone more than a month now without taking Advil, which never happens. So it's been transformative for me. If you have an injury, if you're coming back, overcoming or recovering from a surgery or something like that, or chronic pain, BPC 157 could be transformative for you. Isn't it worth a call? Visit yourgoodwood.com.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
Glad you're with us. Always appreciate our friends at Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Yeah, I get it. Funny logo, funny name, all that stuff. You want to feel your best inside out. They can help. Hormone replacement therapy, tons of peptides as well. Check them out. Lowest prices, never any contracts. Lowest prices, never any contracts. YourGoodwood.com. Over the weekend, the New Orleans Saints did something that many people lambasted them for, because it is a very New Orleans Saints thing to trade for a receiver that's on IR. It is. But the Saints did that on Saturday. New Orleans sent a 2027 sixth-round pick to New England for Ja'Lynn Polk and a 2028 seventh-round pick. So you're talking late-round picks and a player swap. And if you're not familiar, Ja'Lynn Polk was a second-round pick a year ago, number 37 overall. Remember Ja'Lynn Polk from Washington? He was on that team with Michael Penix, a great team that went to the national championship game. He was drafted by New England, 37th overall, so early second-round pick. And the Saints liked him a lot in the pre-draft process. Well, after a year that was kind of defined by some dropsies, now New England, and an injury, New England's cutting bait. They're sending Polk to New Orleans. Again, the Saints are getting Polk and a 2028 seventh-round pick in exchange for a 2027 sixth-round pick. So you're sending a 6 for a player and a 7. Here was Kellen Moore. This was post-game, as a matter of fact, after they lost to the 49ers, but it was the first time, because this happened on a Saturday, it was the first time that the media had a chance to talk to Kellen Moore about it.
Ja'Lynn's obviously on injured reserve already, so he was already on injured reserve with New England, so we were able to acquire him. We're really excited about that. He was, everyone watched him coming out of the draft. Just last year, we felt like everyone, when I was in Philly, when the staff here was in New Orleans, obviously, everyone had great feedback on it. We felt like it was a great opportunity for the future to bring a guy in who we all think highly of, add to that room. We feel like that room has, we just got a ton of depth in that room for certainly this year, and his becomes a factor in next year, and so that'll be a different experience there, but we feel like we're just adding to a really talented room right now.
Okay, so you consider you've got Olave, you've got Shaheed, you signed Brandon Cooks to a 2-year deal, you traded for Devon Vele, so you're building some numbers in that room. Now you add Ja'Lynn Polk as well. The flip side of it, remember, Gerard Mayo was the coach in New England a year ago when they drafted Ja'Lynn Polk. Now it's Mike Vrabel, so different leadership there in the organization. Here was Vrabel on 98.5 The Sports Hub, why they traded Ja'Lynn Polk.
I just think that good start for him somewhere else, and wish him the best. He worked extremely hard to get back and then was re-injured. So we weren't going to be without Ja'Lynn this year anyways, and we felt like what was best is to kind of give him a fresh start.
So Ja'Lynn Polk gets a fresh start. New England gets an asset for him. Remember, in New England, you've actually seen Kayshon Boutte emerge this year, which is a pleasant surprise for us as LSU fans and guys that watch Kayshon, but obviously for New England as well, maybe something they weren't counting on for him to play as well as he has. So it's something worth filing away. When you think back to what Polk was coming out, you're talking about a guy at 6'1", 203 pounds, who was an explosive player at Washington. He started his career at Texas Tech in the COVID year, but then played 3 seasons at Washington. And in that year in 23, when they played for the Natty, he had 69 catches for 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns. I mean, really good player. That was an early second-round pick. Some people mocked him in round 1. So you get a high ceiling guy here for a low amount. But the thing with Ja'Lynn Polk is the drops a year ago were really what hurt him. And that's what Gerard Mayo, again, this was from last October in his rookie year. This was his then head coach, Gerard Mayo, talking about Polk a year ago.
I think he just, he needs to get over this mental hump. You gotta eliminate the drop passes. You gotta be better blocking, which he did a great job in college at that. And at times throughout the season, he just has to continue to grow. He has to work harder. He has to pay more attention to the details. And we fully expect him to grow into a receiver that's dependable on run and pass downs. Okay, so Gerard Mayo didn't have the opportunity to watch him develop. He got fired. A new coach comes in, and Mike Vrabel sends Ja'Lynn Polk to the New Orleans Saints. And so old Gumsmack and Mick sends future assets, again, for a player that you're not going to use this year.
And you know what? Brace yourself. I love it. I love it. Muse, I love it.
I'm flabbergasted.
Miracles happen. Miracles
right in front
happen.
of my face.
World peace is possible.
It is.
Left and right can come together, red and blue, in harmonious harmony.
Sure. Yeah, there you go. Harmonious harmony.
Bama fans and Auburn fans can coexist.
They can.
Harvey Updike no longer poisoning trees.
Oh, well.
It's possible.
He's also passed on. But yeah,
he's dead.
He's dead.
He is dead, yes.
So he's not
dead.
poisoning trees.
The Harvey Updikes of the future.
There we go.
It is possible, Muse, that dogs and cats can lie together.
Mm-hmm.
I am complimenting Mickey Loomis. I'm complimenting Gumsmackin' Mick. Now, this may just be a very clear example of a blind squirrel finding a nut. He might not even be aware that this happened. He may be at some Italian restaurant in New Orleans drinking vino and eating the veal parm and not even aware that Kellen made this trade. That might have been what happened. I don't know. I don't know what Mick's doing. But if he had any say in this, I applaud him. Listen, I'm a big enough man, Muse, that I can compliment an adversary for a job well done.
Very mature.
It's true. I can. I'm the most competitive son of a bugger you'll ever meet in your life. I'm going to work real hard to beat you in everything I do. Not that I'm competing with Mickey Loomis and anything, but the point is, if you beat me, you earned it. And I can congratulate you for that. And if you're Mickey Loomis and you're doing your damnedest to run this organization straight into the ground, and somehow you slip up and actually do something that makes a lick of sense, I can compliment you for it. Attaboy, Mick. It's a miracle here. We call this a Miracle Monday on a Wednesday.
Okay, yeah.
It's a Wondrous Miracle Wednesday. A Miracle Wondrous Wednesday. A Wondrous Wednesday. I'm trying to make it work with alliteration.
Wondrous Wednesday. I like that.
But I want to work in miracle.
Yeah.
But here's the thing, Muse. First of all, you're not winning anything this year. We know that. I've said it a million times. If they were making trades, giving up future assets for someone to try to help them win now, I would not be good with that. You're not winning anything this year. You stink. You're 0-2. You're going to be 0-3 after Sunday. You're going to be 0-4 after you go to Buffalo. Mm-hmm. There's new odds out. Kellen Moore has the best odds to be the last new coach to win a game. I do think they can beat either New York or New England in the Dome here in a few weeks. I think they could get one of those. But nonetheless, I'm not interested in giving up assets to try to win now. That's why I didn't like the Devon Vele trade. What are you doing? We'll see in time if that actually plays out. I think we got fleeced by Sean Payton on that one. But I like this one. You got a guy with a super high ceiling, 2 years left. We can take down the music. You got a guy with a super high ceiling. You got 2 years left on your rookie contract, so you're still getting him relatively inexpensive. You're going to get him in your organization, in your culture this year, get him healthy, come back, compete next year for a job, and all you gave up is a future 6, and you got a future 7, and so if Polk doesn't work out, that's okay. You basically did a pick swap. Now, you got a 7, they got a 6, but I would like to also remind you, have you ever taken a look at the New Orleans Saints' history of 6th-round draft picks?
No.
All right, let's run through some of this, okay? This year was Devin Neal. We're optimistic.
Yeah.
Probably misplaced when I run through some of this. Christian Boyd was a 6th-round pick. A.T. Perry was a 6th-round pick. How did that work out?
Oh, Lord. He's in Denver.
Jordan Jackson. Landon Young. Stop me if I hit on one. Saquon Hampton. Cameron Moore. You even know who that is?
I've never heard of Cameron Moore.
He was a cornerback. Cameron Moore was a cornerback out of Boston College. Didn't really work out. They had Boston Scott, who was a hit, but didn't stay here.
Not here, yeah.
You got rid of him, and he went somewhere else.
Philly.
Al-Qadim Muhammad.
I remember that name.
Yeah. Tavon Rooks, embarrassment out of Kansas State. Rufus Johnson out of Tarleton State.
Strong name.
Huge relative athletic score guy.
Was he at the Senior Bowl?
Probably. Andrew Tiller. Taylor Melhaff, when they drafted a kicker. and that didn't work out of Wisconsin naturally. Mike Haas, that was part of Sean Payton's first draft. Didn't he win the Biletnikoff at Oregon State that year? I think Mike Haas won the – they also drafted Josh Lay, same year, by the way, both 6th-round picks that year. Jason Jefferson, I don't even remember him. Another one from Wisconsin. Got to stop drafting Wisconsin guys. They finally hit on one in Ramczyk. I'll keep going if you're interested. Kareem Kelly. By the way, we're back to 2003 now. We're all the way back to – we have not found a 6th-rounder yet that the Saints have hit. Back to 2003.
Haas did win the Biletnikoff in 05.
How about your boy?
Yeah.
How about your boy, Muse? How about, can I get that thing?
Yeah,
I mean, every now and again, Muse, I get a pull like that. You remember why Mike Haas?
Yeah.
He's a Wes Welker type.
Oh,
he's a Wes Welker type, Mike Haas.
Man, the Saints took him from the Patriots? Bill had to be pissed.
JT O'Sullivan.
Okay.
O'Sullivan O'Sucks. John Gilmore. Mitch White. You have to go back to Mark Bulger in 2000, who was a 6th-round pick. You have to go back a quarter century before you find a hit on a 6th-round pick by the New Orleans Saints. So you send a 6 to New England for a guy that was gifted enough to be the 37th overall pick on a rookie deal with 2 years left, not compromising anything for this year, for the future to try to win this year. It's a future asset. I think Kellen probably sent Mick and Dennis Lauscha to go get a few glasses of wine and some veal parm, or maybe a steak, and said and just took the wheel for a little bit. That's what I think happened here. And they stumbled back in like, brilliant, Trey, look at what we did. It couldn't have been Mick who pulled this off. But I like it. I like it a lot. I like it a lot. You surprised?
Yeah, I am. I'm very surprised, actually. Yep. If I woke up tomorrow morning with my head set on the carpet, I wouldn't be more surprised than I am right now.
Just about to say, the correct response is, Eddie, if I woke up tomorrow with my head sewn to the carpet, I wouldn't be any more surprised than I am right now. Attaboy, Mick. Now back to your gum-smacking ways. It's AFR.
After further review.
We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Is your AC acting up? Don't worry about it. Just call River City's 1 Hour Air. They're the best. That's what Ashley did. Her 5-star Google review reads, Mr. Saunier was incredibly helpful, promptly resolved our issue, ensuring my AC was back up and running smoothly. He demonstrated great respect for our home's customs, which prohibits shoes indoors. He diligently put on his shoe covers before entering and removed them each time he exited. This is a rare courtesy among professionals. By the way, I can confirm they do that not just at Ashley's house, where they have a custom about taking off your shoes. At our house, we don't have that custom, but they're still that courteous. They'll always put on shoe slip-over covers whenever they come into your home because they are very respectful. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com.
After further review, presented by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
You know, for all the complaining about the deep recesses and dark places on the internet, it can be a wonderful place as well. The NFL shared a video today that a family had posted on social media. It's a woman who's battling ovarian cancer who's a huge Devontae Smith fan. Well, the woman's daughter reached out to Devontae Smith's fiance on Instagram, and within a couple of hours, she arrived at the hospital to deliver a signed Devontae Smith jersey to this woman who's in the hospital battling ovarian cancer. And the moment between this woman and her daughter who's filming it is awesome. And the types of things that, when we do focus many times on negativity, renews your confidence that there are so many good people walking the face of planet Earth, and most of us are overtly good people that want to do right by others. And whenever we have a chance to shine a light on that, we're going to do it. So hat tip to Devontae Smith and his fiancee Maya. Beautiful gesture for this family who are very moved, and we are as well. So you can check that out. It's on social media if you want to see it. All right, Muso, Tigers and the Pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now.
All right, Wednesday was the first time that Zach Taylor got in front of a microphone after the Bengals officially put Joe Burrow on IR. So naturally, he was asked about Joe Burrow. Taylor, as of Wednesday afternoon, did not have a timetable on when Burrow would be having the surgery to repair the turf toe on his left foot, but he also, again, did not eliminate the possibility that Burrow returns at some point in 2025. Again, that'd be about mid-December. When asked how long Joe could be out, he said, quote, at least the next 4 weeks, referencing the IR stint. It'll be longer than that. Jaden Daniels, of course, with his knee sprain, he did not practice on Wednesday. Dan Quinn confirming that. It happened on Thursday Night Football against the Packers. We'll see. They said iffy day-to-day on Jaden Daniels. Paul Skeens, a night ago, got roughed up by the Chicago Cubs. 3 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned in that outing. Also gave up a homer. He is now 10-10 on the season. He got tagged with the loss. Dylan Cruz in a doubleheader, 3 for 7 against the Braves a night ago. All 3 singles did score a run. That's Tigers in the pros.
Presented by the Williamson Eye Center. Remember, Federalis Fest is coming up on the LSU Open date, December, one of those months, October the 4th. It is presented by the Williamson Eye Center. You get more information there at federalisfest.com. Or, of course, if you want to ditch contacts and glasses forever, you need the Williamson Eye Center. Dr. Blake Williamson did my LASIK. He did Paulie's LASIK. Evo ICL custom lens replacement. They did the PRK procedure on Hester. So many options. If you want to be able to just see, let Dr. Blake Williamson give you that gift. 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or williamsoneye.com. All right, y'all, it is after further review. SportsCenter's coming up. Get you caught up on national headlines. Come back. Saints injury reports out. Someone returned.
AFR.
Love telling you about Shaw Bills. When I said someone returned, meaning return to practice. Guy's been injured. Return. Tell you who it is coming up after SportsCenter. Hey, Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. Love telling you about Shaw Bills and have had the pleasure to do this for years. And all of us have had the great pleasure to go to Shaw Bills for nearly 60 years. I know it's not a lot of fun to buy tires. We've all had to do it. You own a vehicle, you've had to buy tires at some point. And quite honestly, that sucks. It's just not fun to spend money on tires. You'd rather spend your money on other stuff. But you literally can't drive your car without tires. It's just a literal impossibility. So you want to get the best tires on the road at the cheapest price. Well, that's why you go to Shaw Bills, because they bend over backwards to curate deals, combining their in-house offer with the manufacturer offer. The Shaw Bills credit card will get you great discounts to get you the best price possible. I guarantee it. As a matter of fact, that's part of the Charlie's Dozen. So learn more at ShawBillsTire.com, ShawBillsTire.com. Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling.